Hey guys, one of the most frequently asked questions I've been getting asked a lot about lately is power of sales. Should you be buying a home that is being sold by the bank? Well, a lot of people have a misconception that they think they're going to get some crazy big deal or discount because it is a power of sale home. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what a power of sale is, the pros of a power of sale, the cons of it, what the differences are between a power of sale in Canada and Ontario is, and what people seem to be mixing it up with due to these popular television shows, which is what is known as a foreclosure in the United States. I'm also going to talk about a few hidden things that most people don't know about a power of sale and how it can come to bite them in the rear. So stay tuned, you don't want to miss out on that one. Let's get into it. Okay, so what is a power of sale? Well, a power of sale is usually a clause written into your mortgage agreement that gives the bank the power to sell your home. Why would they have to do that? Well, that's if you default on your mortgage. And you could default on your mortgage in multiple ways. Obviously, not paying your mortgage monthly payments, but also things as not paying your property tax as well. Now, when you go to the US side of things, you have what's called a foreclosure, which is kind of the same thing in that the bank can sell your house. However, in Ontario, the bank does not own your house when they go to sell it. They merely have the power to step in and sell it for you because you are making the payments. In the United States, they actually take title off of the current owner before they go to sell the house. This is a key difference in Ontario and in the States, and is a big reason why you don't see crazy deals happening due to power of sales. So this takes us to the number one thing or rule of what a bank needs to do when selling a house in Ontario through a power of sale. They absolutely must try to get fair market value. This is why you don't see deals happening 50% below. Now, in Toronto last year, power of sales did sell slightly below the listing price on average compared to homes that were sold regularly. And that difference was about 5% under listing. And you may not be thinking, well, that's a whole lot. If you're comparing this to, say, buying $1 million home, that's $50,000 off. So in Ontario, after somebody doesn't pay their mortgage for, they missed their payments, the bank has 15 days to deliver a notice of power of sale. And then after that, it's like another 45-day process for them to actually put the house on the market. So all the homes that you see on the MLS and whatnot that are considered power of sale have already gone through that process. And now the bank is exercising their power to sell the home. The bank will usually get one or two appraisals by a professional. Then they'll take that as their fair market value for the price, and they'll put it online and try to get a sale. Now, the reason why banks aren't just trying to sell the home to cover the remainder of the mortgage to recoup their costs is because Ontario has protections in place for the original owner. The bank has to try to get as much money as they can for the house because any money that is sold above what they are still owed goes right back to the original owner. And this brings us to a little bit more of the key differences between Ontario and the States. So in Ontario, the bank does not own the title. In the States, they do. In Ontario, they must sell for fair market value. In the States, it doesn't matter. They could sell for however much they deem fit. In Ontario, the bank has to give all of the extra earnings or proceeds right back to the owner. In the States, they don't have to do that, which is why they sell it at a price, just cover their costs, get their money back, and on to the next client. And one last thing in Ontario, the original owner can actually sue the bank if they do not get fair market value. In the States, some of the states, I believe they can, and a lot of them, though, they can't. So now that you know the key differences between Ontario and the US and why people in the US are getting homes for pennies on the dollar, let's talk about why there are some good things about still buying a power of sale home in Ontario. So the number one pro, obviously, of why you would want to buy a power of sale home is what I mentioned earlier. You get a little bit of a discount. It's nothing crazy, about 5% on average. But if you're buying a home or something that is $1 million, that's quite a discount at $50,000. Also, the sellers in this case are not emotionally attached to the property whatsoever. It's a bank. They just see it as a number. It's another page in their books. They just want to get the deal done the quickest way possible and how it works out in the most fair manner. And the second reason being there's probably going to be less competition on that home, presuming that everybody who's involved in the wanting to buy this property understands the risks, and we're going to talk about those coming up. So to summarize, there's a little bit of an advantage to buying a power of sale home, but it's not like what people think when they're watching the TV shows in America. A little bit of a discount. The seller is motivated because the bank is trying to recoup their money, and there might be less competition. And before we go on to talk about the cons and the risks that people are unaware of, I just want to quickly touch base on explaining surplus funds, because a lot of people still might be thinking, I don't get why the bank can't just sell it for even cheaper if they get their money back. And it's because Ontario has a rule that the bank has to provide a fiduciary duty to the person who took out the mortgage to give them their equity from the home back. So for sake of simplicity, I'm just using some easy numbers to understand here. We're going to assume that the bank took hold the power of sale. The sale went through. They got $200,000 for it. The bank is owed $150,000 on the mortgage still, the number that the person stopped paying. Total cost to sell the house from legal fees, real estate agent commissions, and other selling costs comes to about $15,000. Well, if you add up the $200,000 minus what the bank is owed, minus the cost of selling the actual house, we're left with $35,000. Okay, this must be given back to the original owner because it is their equity and it is the bank's legal duty under the law of Ontario. Okay, so now that we understand what a power of sale is, why it's different from a US foreclosure, and why people aren't getting homes here in Ontario for pennies on the dollar, let's actually go into the cons, what a lot of people do not understand. The first con, one of the most major cons, which should scare a lot of people away, is the as-is condition. When you see a property being sold online that says as is, where is, there is no warranties, representation of warranties, anything like that covered by the bank. You're getting the house exactly as you see fit, holes in the wall, electricity's not running, water's not running, whatever the case may be, that's how you have to take possession of it. So you have things like I just mentioned, things are broken in the house. The roof is leaky, the foundation's got cracks in it, all that kind of stuff is under you. And one main thing that people don't seem to understand either is you might have some more bills on your hand. Yeah, that's right. If the previous seller wasn't paying their utility bills, that's going to fall on the new owner of the house as you're taking possession of the title and all the nuances that come with it. So going into risk number 2, and this is a big one that a lot of people don't seem to understand as well, or they just never even heard of it. Let's say you find a power of sale home. It's got a pretty good discount on it. You see all the work that needs to be done. You think to yourself, no problem. I got this. I could fix it. Okay, you close the deal. You still have to wait a month or two for closing. You got to let the lawyers do whatever they want to do. Well, here in Ontario, the original person who owned the house, if somehow they come up with the money now and they start paying, you just lost your deal and he gets his house back. He or she gets his house back, and you've just wasted all of your time, all of your effort to go into the house, probably, whatever research you did to see what needs to be fixed and all that jazz. So the house is completely gone. It goes right back to the owner. And going into our third risk, which a lot of people, once again, don't know of, is there is something called a super lien. A super lien is put on the title of the house through CRA. Take, for example, if somebody was running a business out of their house or just had a personal business and they weren't paying their business taxes. The CRA can put a super lien on that person's house. And here's the scary part about that. The super lien takes priority even over the bank's mortgage. It's the CRA. They're going to get their money one way or another. Now, as the new owner of the house, the new owner of the title, here's the super scary part. This doesn't always show up on a title search. And what's worse is months after you now buying this home, maybe even years later, you could be getting a letter in the mail from the CRA saying that you now owe these taxes that the previous owner didn't pay. So if you are going to go buy a power of sale home, make sure you find the right lawyer, call around, ask them, have they ever dealt with super lien, or if they know how to search for it, because paying a little bit extra for that expert who usually deals with this stuff can save you a lot of money down the road. Obviously, buying a power of sale home is not for the faint of heart. So should you be buying a power of sale home? Well, I'll give you my opinion on that. I think it still is worth it for some people. I think it's a good fit for investors. They kind of maybe have already juggled through this. Maybe some licensed contractors, because if there's a lot of damage in the house, it's not a problem. They know what it costs. They know what it takes to fix it. If you are just a regular old buyer, make sure you have a healthy budget, because there's more than likely going to be neglected things in the house that are going to need your repairs. So keep some money aside. And it's probably good for those who don't need a home immediately, just in case, the buyer does come back and he ends up taking his house back. You could start your search once again. Now, who's it not recommended for, in my opinion, once again? First-time home buyers. This is just a whole slew of headaches that you're going to have to deal with potentially down the road. It's your first time buying a house. You're probably already stressed enough as it is. Buyers on tight budgets, once again, just because there might be some major repairs that you didn't know about that have to come up, maybe fees, maybe you get hit with, the CRA taxes that somebody else had to pay, and now you have to pay. Anyone who's looking for a move-in ready home, obviously, usually these power of sale homes, like I said, are neglected. Anyone uncomfortable with significant risk, we just went through all the cons and all those risks that those bring upon. And buyers without access to specialist legal counsel. Now, this is something I think anybody could go and find with a little bit of research. You just have to talk to people and get to know them and see what their experience is. So the reality check of it is, Canada's power of sales are not like the States' foreclosures. People are not getting these crazy discounted prices that are just pennies on the dollar. You are getting a little bit of a discount, but it's not what people think when they're watching those shows on TV. And that about wraps it up. We got the key takeaways here that you might want to just refresh your memory with. Forget the TV fantasy like we just talked about. Understand as is risk and what it means and what you might have to take upon yourself if you buy a power sale home or any home that is being sold as is, where is. Do your due diligence. Hopefully your lawyers and stuff can see if there's any unpaid utility bills even. The deal can collapse at any time. Like we talked about, if the seller, or sorry, not the seller, if the original owner decides that they want to start paying for the house again, or they cough up the money, they find the money somehow to pay for it, the deal's done. Make sure you hire a specialist lawyer, talk to people, like I said, find out their experience with this, and know your risk tolerance. You might be seeing this and you're thinking, no problem, I understand it a little bit better now. I'm still up for it because I want to save that 5%, and all the power to you. I think that's amazing, and I think that you can do it as long as you're aware. So that brings me to the conclusion of this video. Just wanted to put this out there as everyone has been asking me about it lately. There are still, some pretty good deals to be had as long as you understand these things. And if you would like to see me drop a monthly video of the current power of sale homes in Toronto, or the GTA for that matter, of what I think might be the best deals out there, let me know and I'll start producing those as well. And have a great day. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, subscribe. It goes a long way. And I appreciate the support. Take care.